Good morning, or good afternoon. It's morning for me. I'm from San Diego, California. And I wanted to mention a couple things that folks were talking about the incinerator here in Detroit. My first campaign was fighting an incinerator in Tijuana, Baja California, that we brought communities together with Kettleman City, some folk here from Kettleman City who are still fighting this fight. Now for the expansion of the largest toxic waste dump west of the Mississippi in their community. I've been very fortunate to visit many, many communities. And I remember going to San Antonio, Texas, and San Antonio, and seeing the community in the way that it manifested its pain was putting crosses out so officials could see how many people in those communities had passed away. And I remember also going down to Louisiana right after Katrina. And Arnoldo Garcia and I wrote some words in a book about our experience down there. And who did we see down there that were suffering? We saw fisher people that were from Vietnam that aren't really talked about even now, about the impact that they had and the impact that they're still having. And for sure not being talked about right now with the Gulf oil spill. And we saw people from the Homa Nation. I think there's some folks here from the Homa Nation. And we worked with some of the folks rebuilding some of those houses. Those were the forgotten people also in Katrina. Because I remember when we got to the Homa Nation, they were kind enough to give us food and shelter. And I want to talk about something that I saw today on the news. This morning I turned on the news and there was a city council person there saying, we need to pass an ordinance here in Detroit not to give Mexicans jobs. What? This is what's happening nowadays with all this immigration piece and all this just wrongly placed hate on immigrants and people of color and folks from working class communities. I think it's important for people to understand that when I went to around in Katrina, some of the Air Force Base actually had people from Mexico, Nicaragua, and other places that were part of the guest worker program that were there doing cleanup without even being given a mask or any kind of information on what they were doing. And they were putting up blue tarps, by the way, for Halliburton for $1,800 a piece on roofs. And that's how much Halliburton was getting from these blue tarps. And they were being paid less than minimum wage, by the way, because if you remember, in Louisiana, they lowered the wages below minimum wage so that people could get these jobs. So again, I want to mention to you that no, having an incinerator is not having a job. Incinerators, you can paint that incinerator as green as you want, but it will never be a green process. And the issue of green has been co-opted to the point that now DuPont and all these other nasty corporations are saying they have green products, they have green innovation, and they have the human element. That's interesting. So in closing, I want to mention that from the Just Transition Alliance perspective, people and what people produce should not have to migrate in order to have jobs. People should be able to make those jobs possible in their communities and grow and supply whatever their community needs locally. And also green jobs, or jobs in this case, jobs, sustainable jobs, need to have a cradle-to-cradle approach. That means that you have to take into consideration every aspect from what comes out of the earth to what goes back in there. And if you don't look at it that way, then it's not sustainable. And, well, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.